All right, welcome to Twin Terror. I'm David,
And I'm Gary.
and today we're going to talk about
We're going to talk about the Republican ticket,
ah, and what about it?
whether they were speeding or not,
Well,
whether they were caught making an illegal left-hand turn. I guess they make a right-hand turn. So,
the
if you watched our video that came out on Friday, this was we're going to schedule this one for Saturday. Today is Sunday, the 18th of August, and so this one's going to come out on the 24th of August. When we threw cards on the vice presidential debate, my initial throw was just all about Tim Walz and how Tim Walz's messaging is going to come out in the debate. And it was kind of curious how JD Vance wasn't even coming, his energy wasn't even coming through. The current energy isn't showing anything about JD Vance. And I referenced something from Cash Peters' video that he came out yesterday, which would have been Saturday, the 17th of August, where he's talking about how JD Vance's podium collapses in the debate, and that Walz basically helps pick up JD Vance. He doesn't kick down on him when he's got the opportunity. He helps pick him up. So we wanted to get the energy on that. And then as we continued the reading, it gave the distinctive impression that Vance might be on his way off the ticket, that Trump may be looking to replace him. Is that a good, reasonable summary of what we just
yeah,
did?
yeah. So now it's just going to be a deeper dive into the energy between these guys and what's going to happen with Trump and JD Vance with upcoming. The DNC has not happened yet as we record this, but by the end of the week it will have happened. And originally Trump said he wasn't going to do any campaigning or anything until after the DNC. Apparently he got talked out of that because he's been campaigning all week.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they should be coming up with a new strategy. And the first thing they now know that Tim Walz is the vice presidential candidate. The Democrats are going to have their DNC, and all eyes are going to be on them. And usually the next week, there's going to be a lot of momentum behind it. So the question is Trump going to try and change the news cycle to prevent Kamala Harris and Tim Walz from their post-Democratic National Convention boost, if they have such a boost?
Yeah.
Okay, so these readings are for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
We throw these tarot cards because we ask questions and we try to interpret the energy behind the questions that we ask. Not trying to bamboozle anyone. We're curious and we want to look at what's behind it because it can give us insight. If you enjoy these programs, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section. Gary does read through all the comments and he responds to many of them. So if you want to engage in a conversation with Gary, go for it. He'll have a grand time joking around with you and doing all that.
And you can tell if I'm answering on my phone versus my computer by the number of emojis.
Yes, computers don't really have access to emojis quite like the phone does.
If you're getting emojis, that's meant I was answering comments on my phone.
It means he wasn't working like he was supposed to.
Oh, you don't know that.
Clearly on his break. Okay, so what do you want to start off with on this one?
Let's look at the energy on the Republican ticket.
Okay.
There's obviously when Biden dropped out, Trump lost his poopies. His diaper filled up.
It was amazing how many things could go right for a candidate in the weeks leading up to Biden announcing his withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
It was just ridiculous how things were stacked for Trump. The minute Biden announced his withdrawal and Harris went in there, good Lord, it sucked all the oxygen out of Trump's tent and it all went over to Harris's tent. And it's been a month and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah. It's the epitome of the tower card, right?
Yeah, literally.
So I want to see the energy around the ticket. Trump has definitely, I don't think Vance was Trump's boy. I think he wanted someone closer, more family oriented, Laura Trump. but we're also backing up against the deadlines for the getting the tickets announced to each state so they could print up ballots.
Yeah.
And if the Republicans, basically that horse has kind of left the barn. So if they change the ticket now, they may find themselves in situations where their voters are going to have to write in.
Yeah, and I imagine different states have different dates, which are their drop dead dates. I don't know when the first drop dead date is, but
they're all kind of clustered around the end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, so if there's going to be a move made, you got to make it soon because you've got to update those tickets in order to do that. If you do it afterwards, you're in write-in territory.
And it's going to be very interesting because if Trump decides that Vance needs to go or if Vance decides he needs to go, make him an offer he can't refuse type of I want to go.
I want to spend more time with family.
Yes. I want to pursue other opportunities. It's going to be interesting to see how they circle the wagons and come up with a consensus VP pick, or if Trump just picks one and says, this is what I'm doing. So all sorts. We're living in very interesting times.
Yeah.
Okay, so the energy around the current Republican ticket. What's Trump thinking?
That's the ticket.
Yeah.
Raw tourmaline out of the way.
Oh, you know what? There is the perfect foundation card.
Trying to find their way out of the darkness.
Yep. The foundation is the hermit. Just trying to figure out what path are we going to go down. They are, as Dave mentioned, they had just an embarrassment of riches up until the point that Biden dropped out.
Yep.
And at this point, they found themselves, they are not on a path anymore. And they can't find the path. And Trump is looking.
Can we editorialize for a second, not to pull you out of the channeling that you're in there? It's kind of like when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, the dog caught the car.
Yeah.
It was like all these attacks on Biden's age and his inability to articulate and this, that, and the other thing. It almost got to the point where they were so effective that the Democrats changed candidates. And it was like, you killed the patient. You're trying to keep the patient really, really sick so that you can collect all the Medicare money, like you're a corrupt doctor. But in this case, you did such a good job, you actually killed the patient, so the Medicare money stopped. And now there's a new patient, and they're really young and vigorous and healthy, and you get no money from it. So it's like you killed the cash cow. You killed the golden goose that you were counting on easily defeating in the election.
Absolutely. It's Trump was he didn't have a backup plan.
Nope. He can't think on his feet. The guy's not clever. He's got one path forward and that's it. And now you're seeing him struggle because he never counted for this.
Yeah, and he was so pissed off because they spent all their ad campaign money attacking Biden, and now that it's money that just pissed away.
Yeah.
Underneath it.
They had a high investment in futures of "Let's Go Brandon" flags that maybe aren't so lucrative anymore.
Yeah, it's just exactly what we were just saying. They had spent all their money targeting Biden, and Biden dropped out. And it's like, oh my God, now what do we do? All the things of value that Trump had for his campaign and all the monies were geared towards running against Biden, and that went away. Underneath it all is the high priestess, Joe Biden. It's the divine feminine intellect, keeper in secrets. You got rid of Biden and you pissed off the women. All right. So it's you could have overcome one or the other, but now you've got both. You got rid of Biden, and now you've got a woman in there that's very, very popular and is really energized the Democratic base. In the past, you had the Empress. Everything was going your way.
Yep.
All of the wealth, all of the news, everything of value was heading your direction. It was an embarrassment of riches that you had. Just like Dave was saying, you know, for a month, everything was just going perfectly for you guys. And then, you know, you kill the patient. Or, you know, it's like the virus. The virus is just designed to keep the patient sick. Don't kill the patient, because if you kill the host, the virus dies. The current energy is the King of Wands. This is, you know, in the previous readings, this was kind of the Tim Harris or the Tim Walz card. But it could be the Biden-Harris campaign. You know, it's all of a sudden the messaging has changed, and the messaging is gotten to the point where it's like, it's not favorable to the Republicans anymore, and they can't get away from the Democratic messaging. The Democrats have taken over the messaging. Overarching energy. Oh, what a perfect card. The Seven of Cups, illusions and delusions. It's just, Trump is still thinking that the same attacks, the same tactics will work, because, you know, the Democrats are lying, cheating, communistic, socialistic, fascist, you know, pick your favorite scary adjective, and that's what a Democrat is. But it's not working. The Republicans are fooling themselves, because they're thinking that they can still attack Biden and the Democrats, but it's not working anymore. The Democratic's message has changed, and the Republicans can't get any traction. They're just absolutely fooling themselves, and they're driving themselves nuts. The lesson to be learned is the Five of Cups, sorrow. There's a sadness, because we had Biden set up. We had this campaign set up. Project 2025 was ready to change this country for the way we wanted it. And it's the entire election cycle has gone to 180 on the Republicans, and it's gone the other direction in a big way. The outcome, 9 of Wands. You've been your messaging, you've been battling, you have been fighting and fighting and fighting, and the battles that you fought against Biden, you're tired and you're wounded, and now you've got a strong opponent that's got a bigger stick than you've got, and they're in a healthier place than you are, and they are in command, and they've got an attack lizard. You do not. Just for those that might not see, there is the.
I just have a little gecko down there.
That's right. Your thoughts?
Yep. It's they're running out of time. Their attacks don't work. They're running out of time, and they don't know a way out. They're looking for they're looking for the silver bullet, and they haven't found it, and they've run out of time.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Do you want to read on if the ticket's going to be static or if it's going to change?
Yeah, let's look at the dynamic of the ticket. Lots of rumors going around of JD Vance being asked to step away from the ticket, which is, they can do that. They can't kick him off. They can't fire him. He has to voluntarily resign to spend more time with his family.
Yes,
and stuff like that.
We're going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
So let's look at the dynamic at the top. Is the Republican ticket what it's going to be, or is there going to be changes? Let's look at the energy around that. Okay, my deck is upside down.
Why don't you make yourself bigger? Ooh, you got the Trump card.
What you call. So we start off foundation reading as the Four of Coins, holding on desperately, not wanting to expand its retraction. It's holding on to what you've got. Page of Cups, but evaluating, looking at things differently. There could be a shakeup that goes on here. That this isn't working for me. We're not going to win unless we expand. But you got this odd energy underneath there. You got a star card too. Calm after the storm. I think Trump is realizing his star power alone isn't enough to get this done. But, and MAGA is here for one person and one person only, and that's Donald Trump. The VP pick doesn't matter. I'm going to just throw them out there. We've got the Six of Wands, the Empress in the current position, the Five of Coins, and the overarching energy. That's interesting. The Eight of Swords as the lesson to be learned, and the Death card as the outcome. We're looking at the energy of it. I think the view is if they stay the way they are, just hunker down and maintain what they've got and ride, MAGA and Tim Walz as the young guy over there. Tim Walz got in there.
JD Vance is what you meant to say, right?
What's that?
JD Vance.
I'm sorry, Tim Walz. JD Vance. Trump ticket stays stagnant. MAGA supports Trump. JD Vance being the young guy that's been elected in there with his odd ideas because Heritage Foundation. In the past, JD Vance got in. He was selected. Everybody huzzah. He was the rising star in the Republican Party. Current situation is the Empress. I'm not going to read this as the high energy, which is providing for everyone. I'm going to read this as low energy, lazy and entitled. I don't think JD Vance is lazy and entitled. Trump is lazy and entitled. He's making JD Vance do all the work. JD Vance has to do all the legwork for going out there and ginning up support while Trump hangs around the golf course. Overarching energy, I said this was interesting, is the Five of Coins. Whereas Trump was sitting in a great position before Tim Walz got announced, before Joe Biden got stepped away from re-election, he's now in a position where he went from everything being in abundance to everything being scarce. Yep. And Trump is lazy. He doesn't want to change the message. He's never changed his message. His message is always going to be the same. It's Donald Trump. I'm a star. Vote for me because I'm a winner.
Yep.
And now things have changed. And the dynamics changed. Trump feels stuck with JD Vance. This is a card that came up when I asked if JD Vance would be Trump's VP. It was the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords. He got stuck with this guy, not who he wanted to pick.
I could totally see why you didn't choose him as your prediction for his VP candidate.
Yeah, exactly. And he was a disaster. And the outcome's going to be the death card. Trump may feel like he's stuck, or the GOP may feel like they're stuck with him. Trump's going to put an end to it. He doesn't want JD Vance as his VP. And I will double back to a comment that I've made before. Trump never owns any mistake. It's always somebody else's fault that why things didn't work out. And JD Vance was forced down on him. Money, the Peter Thiels of the world wanted JD Vance on there because Trump was, when elected, after he beat Biden from the Republican point of view, and I still contend that I think Biden would have beat Trump, but okay, that's not an issue anymore. We don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Trump was going to go on his revenge tour. His whole thing was he wanted to go on his revenge tour, and he wanted control of the Justice Department. The Justice Department said that there's no new investigations into him, and he could use the Justice Department to go after his enemies. JD Vance was going to be like Mike Pence. The day-to-day work was going to fall on JD Vance, and the Heritage Foundation wanted JD Vance in there. And I don't know if you saw this, Gary, but there were secret tapes made with one of the founding members of Project 2025.
I saw the article. I didn't watch the video on it. Basically,
several different cameras, several different microphones, so you can't say it was a deep fake because they can get it from different angles. The guy basically said, yeah, Trump will deny, because they asked him, like, well, why is Trump denying this? Oh, no, he's just doing that because, trust me, we're in tight with Donald Trump. He fully supports what we're going to do. And when we get in, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a massive deportation.
Yeah.
Trump's going to want to drill, but we're going to do the massive deportation. get rid of the Department of Education. They're going to make federal workers Schedule F contractors that could be fired. They weren't politically protected, so on and so forth. So J.D. Vance is going to be the one who's going to do all the heavy lifting on that. Donald Trump was just going to scribble his signature on executive orders to get this done. And right now, that isn't so clear that Trump's going to get in. And Trump's going to say, well, it's J.D. Vance weighing down the ticket. I need to have somebody else. Because it's never going to be Trump's fault that the ticket's floundering.
So the only thing, I want to throw a 4-carder.
Sure.
I guess technically 5 cards because we do the underneath card. But your final card was the death card. Uh-huh. And is that going to be the death of J.D. Vance as a VP or a death of the Republican ticket? In other words, is this if Trump is successful in getting J.D. Vance, is that what the death card is? Or is it the death card because Trump is not successful in getting rid of J.D. Vance and it's the end of this ticket, that this ticket's just going to die at the polls in November?
So for those watching, go back to like the 20-minute and 50-second mark and see if that was an insect that flew at Gary's camera as opposed to the most giant Tinkerbell orb you've ever seen in your life.
I'm voting insect. I got my screen, my back door open, and so there's probably critters flying around.
It looked like an insect. It didn't look like all the orbs that you had when you were in the one bedroom in the house. They were flying all over the place.
In the travel room, apparently there was a lot going on in there.
A lot of traveling going on. Okay, yes, so you're asking the difference if it's going to be...
So the difference is the death card signifying that Trump is able to jettison J.D. Vance, and the death card is the end of J.D. Vance's tenure on the ticket, or is the death card Trump is unable to get rid of J.D. Vance, and that it's the death of the Republican ticket of Trump and Vance? In other words, in November.
You do one, I'll do the other.
Okay, I'm gonna say, is this the end of J.D. Vance's VP?
Okay, and then I'll do the Republican ticket. Okay. Wow, I got some cards.
Yeah. So I've got the King of Wands as the foundation, main clarifier, Ace of Cups, Eight of Swords, the World card, and the Hillbilly Brawl, 5 of Wands.
That Hillbilly Elegy. Yeah, I got no overlapping cards with yours. Carry on.
Okay, so is this the end of J.D. Vance? Okay, so once again, it's the Democratic messaging is what is driving all of this, and the killer gecko. So the Democrats have taken charge of the narrative, and the Republicans are now on their back feet because they weren't prepared for it. Ace of Cups, it's like a whole new emotion. The Democrats, you could take this one of two ways. The Democrats have introduced a whole new emotional component to this. They are energizing their voters. It's also a new emotion to Trump and MAGA because everything was going their way, and now it's going a different way. It has gone sideways, and they're crying tears. These aren't tears of joy from Melania. I guess they could be Melania.
It could be. She's not going to have to be first lady anymore.
Yeah. The clarifiers, you've got the Eight of Swords. The Republicans cannot find a way out of this.
Nope.
They're basically trapped. They're bound to their choice unless J.D. Vance steps aside. The World card. Things are coming to an end. And just chaos. The chaos is underneath all of this. I am not getting the impression that there's definitely an end coming and there's going to be all sorts of chaos around it. I'm just not getting that super vibe that as J.D. Vance is getting jettisoned. I mean, this is the closest thing I'm getting, the 5 of Wands, that J.D. Vance is going to be jettisoned. I don't know. What are you getting on yours?
You're asking about the is it just the end of the Republican ticket?
Yeah,
we got the devil card as the outcome. It's like you chose this. This is the delusion that you were selling, and it's kind of like you reap what you deserve, but kind of these are your values. I think this goes back to what Lindsey Graham said. If we put Donald Trump as our presidential candidate back in 2016, and we put him in charge of the party, we're going to get everything we deserve. And I think that's prophetic with these right here. I think the American voters are going to speak, and it's the cat ladies, the childless cat ladies that get the last laugh here. Regardless of if Trump keeps JD Vance, Trump dumps JD Vance, Trump leaves the ticket and somebody else comes in, it doesn't matter. The end of the day, MAGA is not going to get across. Trump and MAGA are not going to get across the finish line. They're tired of it. They're tired of the lies and everything like that, and they're walking away from the devil.
Yeah. So, taking my cards with my previous reading on the VP debate, because the VP debate was all about the Democratic messaging.
Yeah,
that was the only thing that was coming across. It was almost like it was a town hall. Yeah, it's this chaos card just has me thinking that, because if JD Vance were to drop out, it would create all sorts of havoc and chaos.
Yeah,
and the emotion. These cards make a lot of sense if JD Vance were to depart. I'm not seeing it necessarily definitively. It's just that's my gut feeling that it makes more sense if he's choosing to step aside.
Yeah, to me, it's the King of Wands is somebody's making a decision to make action on the hillbilly. And we'll use the Drunken Hillbilly Brawl to represent J.D. Vance because of his Hillbilly Elegy book. And yeah, I think they're just going to go with a different path. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter. I will be curious to see the chaos that ensues from this. This is going to be a very entertaining August into September.
Yeah, September is going to be one for the history books.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe nothing happens.
Any ideas on September?
Yeah, maybe nothing happens. Maybe this is just the most giant of nothing burgers that you and I have been reading on for the last for the upcoming 6 weeks. Nothing happened. It was just was just campaigning away, but it just doesn't feel like it's going to be like that. It just this presidential run has a feeling like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah. And and once again, not to be too hedgy, but this is current energy. As of August 18th at 3:54 p.m. Right now, the Republicans are scrambling, and I got to think that all options are on the table for them right now, as far as what the ticket looks like, what the messaging is going to be. They got so many things to consider. They caught the car with Roe v. Wade. They caught the car with Joe Biden. They caught the car with Project 2025 finally, kind of getting leaked out. There's so many things. And then Trump, he's facing his sentencing in a month, literally 1 month from now. He's going to be sentenced. And so all of this has to be sort of thrown into the stew pot and stirred around, and they got to come up with a strategy for it. So anything, as Tom Petty said in his song, the future is wide open.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add to that?
That's it for me.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.